is Nicole. I'm the teen librarian over at East End Public Library with Richmond Public Library. I know right now is kind of a crazy time, so I wanted to go ahead and make a tutorial on a fun craft that teenagers can make on their own or with their family members, and that craft is book dahlias. So they're fairly easy to make. They just take a couple of hours. First, I'll go through all of the items you'll need in order to create one, and then the steps in order to finish your project. Okay, so in order to make your book dahlia, these are the items that you're going to need. First, of course, you're going to need a book. You're going to need some twine. You'll need a glue gun, glue sticks, piece of cardboard. You don't necessarily need a paper cutter, but it does help with the first step. And then of course you'll need something in order to measure out the circle you'll need to draw on your cardboard. I don't have a compass here at home, so I just used a bowl. And you could use a bowl as well. Just keep in mind that the smaller your bowl is, the smaller your cardboard circle will be, so the smaller your dahlia will be. So let's go ahead with the first step. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut out your cardboard piece. Now, your cardboard doesn't have to be super sturdy. As you can see, this one's a little flimsy. This is a pizza box. You can use a cereal box as well. So the sturdier it is, though, the easier it will be to hang it up. As you can see, this is from a cardboard box, from a package. So you'll draw your circle around the edge here, and then you're going to, of course, just use your scissors to cut along the edge until you are left with this. Now, I preemptively put a little hole here for the twine to go through in order to hang it up. You can do that with a hole puncher. I didn't have a hole puncher, so I just used something to poke a hole there. Okay, so here I am just cutting some squares. I've decided to do 4" by 4" squares. Like I said, the bigger your petals, the less you'll need in order to make your flower. I've made one with 5 by 5" petals. That is the one you saw at the beginning of this video. And I've made one with 4 by 4" petals. I do like how the smaller petals look because I think it gives it more of a natural kind of like an interesting, more intricate pattern. Most of the squares you cut out are going to be 4 by 4 if that's the main size that you choose. You will want to cut out about 20 squares that are 1 inch smaller than the main size you choose. Those are the ones that are going to go into the middle. As you get closer into the middle of your dahlia, things get a little bit more tightly packed, so you'll want smaller pages. And for those, I usually just do 3 by 3. If you're doing a 5 by 5, you'll want to do 4 by 4 for the middle. So as you can see, I'm just doing a few pages at a time. If you don't have a paper cutter, what you can do is you can take your pages that you've ripped out, you can take a ruler and just measure 4 inches up. This book, I was actually lucky, it's 8 inches total, so I just make a line right down the middle, and then you would just need to measure 1 inch off the edge here and just cut it in half and then cut it long ways, basically like I'm doing here, but just with scissors instead of with a paper cutter. So you're going to want to have probably about 100 pages. I know that sounds like a lot. Don't let that frighten you. It's really not that bad. It goes pretty quick. and it's very repetitive. It's something nice to do while you're watching Netflix or something. But yeah, I will be right back as soon as I'm done cutting all these pages. See you in a bit. Okay, so for our next step, we need to make the Dahlias petals. Now, I've got a few here that I've already made. Probably got about 20 or so. But I'm also going to show you how to make them. So this is what they look like. They're kind of like a little cone. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 4x4 inch squares. And you'll eventually, of course, do these with your 3x3 inch as well. You're going to take your square. I found it's easiest if I take the two opposite corners. Let me see if I can do this so you can see it better. And kind of like fold them together over each other until you get a petal. Now this, of course, it does take some practice. I think it took me a few dozen before I started to kind of get it naturally and just be able to do it fairly easily, the folding part. Don't worry if your petals look a little, like if the end here is a bit more open than others, you're not going to notice it. The beauty about the book Dahlias is that the appeal comes from the sum of their parts, not so much as the execution of every petal. So every petal doesn't have to look perfect. So once you have your petals, you're going to put them on the cardboard about an inch onto it, and you're just going to glue them down like that. A little bit of glue. Be careful because glue guns, of course, are hot, and I burn myself all the time. Alright, so we just glue that down, and you'll want to press down on the part that you're gluing to the cardboard to really make sure it sticks there really well. And then your next one, okay. So once you have your first layer done, this is what it should look like. I didn't count them, but I think there's about 20 to 25 of these petals here on the outer layer. You might have a different number. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. So, like I said, the dahlia, the beauty of it comes from the sum of its parts, and the end product is really, it's gonna look good either way. So now for the second layer, you're going to take your petal and you're just going to put a little bit of glue between two of the petals that are already glued down, a little bit further in. So you want it to go a little bit more in, I would say like half an inch further in than the previous layer. And then you put the glue down and you just kind of press until the petal stays in there, and it's going to nestle in between the two petals on the layer before it. Alright, so I've got the second layer on here, as you can see. So this is kind of, you know, what it's going to look like once you're done with the second layer. Sorry for my low budget tripod. You can only see so well, unfortunately. Alright, so once you've got your second layer of petals on here, you guessed it, you're gonna add some more so that you've got a third layer. So just like with the second one, you're gonna put the third layer, the glue is gonna go right between the two of the petals from the second layer. So third layer is done, and as you can see, you can really start to see the Dahlia's shape around the edges here. It's starting to look really nice and compact and complex, that nice complex pattern that Dahlia flowers have. And I'm just going to keep working on it and add more layers until I get to the middle. All right, so once you have about that much room left in the middle, you'll want to switch over to your smaller cones. So these are the 3x3 inch cones. Just as a comparison, this is the 4x4 inch, this is a 3x3. So you're going to use these for the last 1 or 2 layers in the very middle. I have about 10 made here. You're probably going to use between, I'm going to guess, maybe 15 are going to fit in here. You'll want to do one more ring in the middle, and then you kind of just, the last 5 or so, you're just going to plop them right in the middle and push in as many as you can without it looking, without the petals getting squished, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to take a look at the final product. All right, well, this is our finished dahlia flower, book dahlia. As you can see, it looks really cool, right? So once you're done putting all your petals on, you can go ahead, and I just slipped a little piece of, you could use yarn, ribbon, twine, fishing wire, whatever you have. Just slip it through that little hole that you made and tie a knot, and you can just hang it from there. I have one right now hung up in my guest bedroom above the bed. They look really nice and rustic. And yeah, please let me share your product. If you go ahead and make one of these, we would love to see it. And I will see you next time. Bye.